Hey, welcome back to the Passion and Persistence podcast. I'm so excited to have you here, and I want to remind you to subscribe to this podcast. Also, be sure to tell your friends and family about it. We're here to inspire and motivate, and to remind souls around the world that with passion and persistence, anything is possible. Have you heard that we just dropped the Passion and Persistence merch? You can shop now at passionandpersistence.shop. Here's the next episode of Passion and Persistence. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Passion and Persistence podcast. I'm your host, Elaina Mitchell, and today we have an awesome guest, Dan Sadlowski. He's actually the author of a beloved children's book, Finding Brooklyn, and The Next Great Superhero. Finding Brooklyn boasts your first original female superhero in a children's book. This resilient children's book encourages readers to feel empowered, be different, and believe they have superpowers within. So that's really, really exciting. Dan is dedicated to spreading uplifting messages through storytelling, empowering school visits, education, and inspiring readers everywhere. Be on the lookout for his new children's book, releasing in December of 2019. The universe is rooting for you. So without further ado, let's welcome Dan.
Hi guys. Elaina, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here, Dan. I'm so excited to talk to you about this. I have personally always wanted to write a children's book, and you have taken that leap. So what's that like?
Well, it's great. I think that everybody should take that leap in some way, shape, or form. Getting out there and connecting with different artists and telling your story. You know, everybody's got a story. So, speaking of passion and persistence, that's exactly what it took to get it done. And anybody can do it. So
that is so cool. So tell us a little bit about what passion means to you.
Passion to me is just plain and simply love, what pours from you every day. Basically, just what do you keep going to? What do you find connects yourself to everything in life? Whether that's nature, another person, a family member, passionate about again, connecting with others, helping others, whatever that may be. And that just keeps coming up, back to persistence, that keeps coming back around and again.
Absolutely. That's amazing. So have you always been passionate about writing or inspiring others?
Yeah, definitely. When I was a little boy, I loved to draw, and my grandmother was like, you can write a book. And here I am, 3-4 years old. I can't. What do you mean I can write a book? And she would just be like, yeah, you draw and you show the story, what happens. And she wrote, she asked me what was happening on this page, what was happening on this page. And, eventually she took it and stapled it together. And at 4 years old, my mind was just blown. I was like, what is going on? Like, she's like, you wrote a book. And ever since then, I found that, I did want to create on my own and tell my own story. I find myself very moved by other people's stories. Your story, people around the world, people that feel inspired, that really connects me. I'm very passionate about that. So I just wanted to be part of that. I wanted to tell my own story.
Wow, I love that story. And it takes those little seeds, whether it be from our parents or an outside source, to remind us that we can do something. So your mom telling you that as a child literally made you who you are today. It opened your eyes to those possibilities. So that is really, really, really cool. And I can kind of relate in a lot of ways. I'm sure a lot of listeners will be able to as well. So tell us a little bit more about the inspiration behind your first book.
The inspiration, I'd say, is kind of what you just said in a way. Is empowerment went a long way for myself as a kid, and I've always wanted to do that as an educator. I try to do that every day for my students. Not a day goes by that I feel like that's not an important thing that I need to do. I feel like every day that needs to be done in a very genuine way. Everybody has talents and things that they're great at and ways that they shine, and they should know that. You should not pass people and not let them know that. And so with this story, Finding Brooklyn and The Next Great Superhero, is about little girl Brooklyn. She wears her heart on her sleeve. There's a little heart button that comes with the books, so you can wear your heart on your sleeve too. and you can let everybody know where your superpowers come from. So she's a little different. She likes it that way, and she's kind of, through life's obstacles, challenged quite a bit, back to, persistence. So, my goal was to put resiliency in a children's book. I haven't seen it too much, and I just wanted that to be a main theme in a real super empowering superhero way.
I absolutely love it. I love the little sticker that comes with it. That is such a great idea.
Yeah, she wears this little heart button in the story, right here over her heart, for everybody to see, and you can kind of see it's a little imperfect here, and throughout life she finds out in some ways that she's imperfect, and but she wants to, wear her heart on her sleeve and be herself anyway. So we hand these buttons out so they can kind of just be just like Brooklyn, the main character in the story.
So, were there any obstacles that rose along your path to creating this first book?
Pretty much everything. I had no idea how to go about writing. No one's ever really complimenting me like throughout the years, going to school about my writing, maybe a few. So it was really just pouring your heart out there. I met a few people along the way willing to lend a helping hand, but the obstacles, yeah, everything. I didn't know how to get started on writing a children's book. I had no connections. So everything.
Yeah, so how did you get the ball rolling? Where did you look for the key points and like the information of how to start?
I just tried to be fearless. I think fearless was a big thing for me. I think through passion and persistence, in life you get knocked down, and kind of ironically, the superhero Brooklyn in my story here, Finding Brooklyn, her main, the way she gets her superpowers is basically through never giving up. And she finds out that the more obstacles she takes on in life and the more that comes her way actually aids into like giving her energy and emotion and superpowers. So I thought that anybody that can conquer that basically should get superpowers, and that's what she has in the story. She has a lot of real life obstacles and a lot of, she's got a supervillain as well, just like any other superhero. So she's powered by basically overcoming those obstacles. And me, myself, I kind of just tried to be that same idea, that same character that I was trying to create. What if every obstacle that came my way gave me more power, made me more fearless? Because each knockdown that you get, what else do you have to lose? If you're getting knocked down 200 times, what do you got to lose? It's basically that first couple that hurt. Other than that, you just keep going.
Wow, that's so inspiring. And I'm like I said before, I'm sure so many people are going to be able to relate to this. And we learn through those obstacles. They make us stronger. We learn how to problem solve. So I'm super proud of you for that first book, and even your second book coming out in December. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Yeah, the second book that I'm working on is called The Universe is Rooting for You. It's about a little boy. He's actually in Finding Brooklyn. He's the one classmate that's rooting for Brooklyn, kind of behind the scenes. Everybody else is pretty much not rooting for her, think she's special or super in any way. But he's the one character that is rooting for her. So in return, the universe is rooting for you is about the universe rooting for him. So it has a very big nature piece, taking care of nature. Nature's caring for him. So he finds out the leaves are rooting for him, the trees are rooting for him, the ocean's rooting for him, the sun's rooting for him, the moon's rooting for him, and then eventually he's just like, wow, I feel all this love. I didn't really know it was around me. I didn't know it existed, but now he knows, and now he wants to give back in a big way.
That's so beautiful. I love the symbolism there with the whole concept of the story. And I truly do believe that obviously kids are our future. And I think it's so important to instill these lessons in them at an early age. So what age range are these books geared towards?
I always say everybody. When I visit schools, I usually go K through 5. I've gone high school, I've gone college, I've gone adults. I really appreciate the feedback in doing that. so I guess hopefully everybody, again, it being a children's book, you feel like you have to categorize it, but that was one of my main things was I wanted to make this for absolutely everybody, a comic book fan, a children's book fan, or just somebody that likes to be moved in general by a story. So I try not to limit it. I usually say 0 to infinity.
I love that. I really, really do. So where can people find your books?
Finding Brooklyn, the next great superhero, can find at a few Barnes and Nobles across the nation. We're not in every single one, but we're in a bunch. Amazon, you can go to findingbrooklyn-book.com, and a bunch of amazing independent stores. A lot of independent stores overseas as well. We're fortunate enough to have a fan base overseas. So we did a book reading in London and France this year. It's in Greece. So we've made a few stops globally. Luckily, it's touched a lot of people, so we're very lucky, very fortunate to keep spreading this message.
Oh my gosh, I am literally so inspired by this in so many ways. So freaking proud of you. So if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
Yeah, I'm 34 years old. I started out a career in healthcare. I moved over to teaching, which I do currently. And then, I'm super passionate about writing stories, so I do that. It's been taking up a lot of my time as well, visiting schools, and I love all of it.
That is so cool. So how old were you when you did your first book?
My first book came out 3 years ago. 3 years ago in about a week. It will be 3 years to the day.
Very, very, very cool. So tell me a little bit more about your background. Were there any crazy obstacles or hardships that you had to endure that kind of inspired your motivation to inspire others?
That is a great question. Again, I think the list could go on as far as how many obstacles, but one thing I think is important is never to compare. I don't like to compare my obstacles to others, but just generally I could say is life, life, loving and losing loved ones, family members, things that other people have been through, things that you've been through. So it's tough for me to pinpoint one obstacle. It was just an accumulation of what life had thrown at myself, and I'm sure everybody else, again, has faced these obstacles. Just being inspired by other people has been a big thing of me trying to overcome those obstacles as well. It's hard to try to pinpoint down just one.
Yeah, definitely. We all go through things, right? So it's like you said, learning from all of those lessons and downfalls. And was there ever a time in your life where you feel like maybe you hit rock bottom or felt hopeless and had to pull yourself back up?
Absolutely. I think that was the main motivation to completing this story. And, when you feel like you've hit rock bottom, again, it can be sort of a superpower in a way, if that's what you choose to make of it. If you've gone that low and you feel like there's nowhere else to turn, you really have nothing to lose. So you might as well just live each day the way you really wanted to from the get-go. So I try to keep that practice and keep myself knowing like those big time obstacles that had pulled me down, and just keep those at the forefront. Know that you're grateful for life and not take it for granted, and let those things continue to power you and continue to allow you to be fearless throughout life, because that's how everybody really wants to live their life. They want to live it fearless and kind of like not worrying about what other people think. And initially I was afraid to just share this book with anybody. I didn't share it for years. Had it written a long time ago, but getting over that first hump of just not caring and allowing yourself to live fearlessly.
I love that so much. So what grade do you teach?
I teach pre-K actually through 5th grade. I teach technology.
Technology. Oh, wow. That's super fun. So what's your favorite thing about teaching right now?
I'd say the kids, all the kids are different, and I love just trying to connect with all of them, finding out what they're passionate about, each and every one of them, and trying to implement that into a lesson plan. And also another key component that I always try to add into education is allowing them to teach the class, have myself sit back. Again, everybody has a story. I have a story. You have a story. We all should take a chance to listen to everybody's passion and their stories. And so as an educator, I try to do that. I try to allow them to teach me something. You have a story and I don't know it, and I should be a student as well.
Oh, wow. That's a great perspective. So if somebody says to you, I'm not sure what I'm passionate about, what would be your response?
That is a great question. I would say just pay attention to what connects you, those moments that just make you feel like larger than life. They're out there. You just have to pay attention to them. So really, if you're struggling to find that, it could be a billion things, and that's great. And just keep paying attention to them, keep connecting, keep putting yourself out there, and it will come.
Very, very cool. I love that advice. Is there any lasting words of wisdom or advice you'd like to leave for any listeners or viewers?
Well, I thank you so much for having me on. Any lasting words or advice? I would say, again, I pour my passion out into these two books. Finding Brooklyn and the Next Great Superhero is mainly about empowerment, resiliency, letting your obstacles charge you and allowing them to just have you overcome anything. Believing you're a superhero. You can overcome these no matter what. And my other passion, the universe is rooting for you. Again, another empowerment. Just knowing that everything around you truly does love you and is rooting for you. You just have to believe it. You have to open your eyes and see it.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dan. You are such an amazing soul, and you are providing so much inspiration to the world in ways that you probably don't even realize it, or maybe you do, but I'm just so inspired by you. I'm so proud of you, and I'm sure there are so many young souls that are going to just reach for the stars because of the stories that you've created and are sharing. So thank you so much, Dan.
Well, I wanted to send that return before I go. Like, just looking at your podcast and what you do that, again, persistently, day in and day out, and you're spreading a good message. Like, it's universally admirable to see the work that you do, and just keep doing it. I got your back. I think it's beautiful work, and I'm very excited and thankful I get to talk to you today.
That was so sweet. Thank you so much, Dan. I hope you have an amazing day, and I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to be on the Passion and Persistence podcast.
Well, thank you so much.
That episode was awesome, and I am so thankful that you took the time to tune into the Passion and Persistence podcast. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe to this podcast. Tell your friends and family, post it on social media, and make sure you follow us on Instagram. We're giving away some cool merch very soon, so turn on post notifications. If you want to check out that merch now, visit passionandpersistence.shop. This episode was brought to you by Mitchell Designs, your one-stop shop for all of your business branding needs. Until next time, guys, make sure you go out and chase your passion persistently.